Good morning, everyone. It is Monday, May 7th, and I'm sitting here in the store making an update. First off, I left my stand for the camera at home, so this will be a little shaky. It's also going to have some moving about in it as I show you various things in the store. So I apologize in advance if the shaking or the moving about causes anybody any problems. We have made a lot of progress since our last update. The last update, we were a little frustrated. Things were moving very slowly. We were waiting on various things, and stuff was just taking longer than we thought it would take. Maybe not longer than it should take, but certainly longer than we thought it would take. Big thing is I have finished painting the Wall of Hate, which is this big brick wall behind me. And I call it the Wall of Hate because if you've ever tried to paint brick, you will understand. It's got a lot of nooks and crannies and crenellations and divots and things that paint do not want to go into. So painting this wall was just an exercise in how many coats of paint is it going to take. There are 5 colors of paint on the wall. The color that we have painted is the 5th, and every color has multiple coats. So it's pretty thick on that wall, but it's still so many little holes that just getting the paint into it so that you couldn't see the color under it shining through was fun. Let me check my notes here. Also have the first coat of paint on the back wall, which you're seeing behind me now. It's the wall that had to have some sheetrock repair done, so we had held off on doing the painting. I have to finish that up, get the second coat on it, and then once that is done, I have to do a few touch-ups around the store. Some places where we spilled one color of paint on another accidentally, or if you look behind me, you see a big white strip on that wall. There was some sheetrock repair done there that we didn't actually intend to make, but the sheetrock guy was very helpful and made it for me. But now I have to repaint that section of wall. Relative to the store, we have our first game order in, and so now we figure out how long it takes our distributor, Alliance Games, to get us stuff once we order it. The order went in on Saturday. They won't even process it till today because Monday, and then we'll see if I get it this week or next week, figure out what their cycle time is so that I can make intelligent estimates on how long it will take stuff to get in when we order it. We have our point of sale system ordered, or our POS system, as we like to call it. It really does mean point of sale, not that other thing. And it is our cash register, but it's so much more than just a cash register. It is our inventory management system. It is the ordering system that is tied into the comic book distributor so that we can just directly order through that rather than having to go online and order through their web interface. It does reporting and will let us see things like how many sales do we do an hour, what is the average dollar amount of our sales, what is the average number of products in a sale, which are important things for people in retail to know. One big thing for us, especially at the beginning, is it's going to help us decide what our hours need to be. We have some hours in mind that we're going to be opening with just to see if they work, but in the end, we may find that the first or last hour of the day that we're open, we don't actually do any business, and seeing that we can make some adjustments and be open when people are in. Or we may find that the first hour we're open, we do all the business and we really need to open an hour earlier. So we'll see how that works. The next part, maintenance. Floor leveling is in progress. If you look on the floor, you see what looks like a bunch of newer, whiter concrete. That's called leveling compound. The old floor in this building was really in bad shape, and before we can put our actual floor surface down, we have to level it off so that it's not a safety hazard and that we don't have carts rolling all over, and it's not like walking through a field full of gopher holes. Once that is complete, which should hopefully be tomorrow, then we'll get the rest of the floor put down, and that should hopefully be done by the end of the week. In terms of getting the store legally open, we have 3 inspections left to complete with the city. We have our framing inspection, wherein they come in and look at all of our walls and framework and make sure that they are up to snuff and meet any code requirements. That is scheduled for today. I don't know when today. It's on the schedule for Monday, and the inspector will get here when he gets here. The second inspection is our fire inspection, wherein the fire department comes in and makes sure that we have a fire extinguisher and it's properly functioning, and that our exits are not blocked, and that any combustible materials are properly stored, and that our various other things that the fire department looks at for safety reasons to keep you, the public, safe while you are in our store shopping. And then the last inspection is called the final inspection, and it is contingent on passing the frame inspection. So if I pass that today, then I can call in and schedule the final inspection. And once I pass the final inspection, we will be issued the certificate of occupancy, and then legally we can open for business. Now, if you look above me, you see a bunch of missing ceiling tiles. We have to replace those before the final inspection. I have to have them out for the frame inspection today. If we pass, I have to put them back in time for the fire inspection on Wednesday. So if we pass, then it will be a pretty busy couple of days of me getting ceiling tiles up. All of those missing ceiling tiles are damaged from the roof leak that we've been struggling with. There was a lot of damage. The roof has actually had a replacement on it within the last 6 months, but it's still kind of leaking in a couple of spots. So we're trying to get that finished and repaired so that we can start putting stuff on the walls. And then the last thing that we have is our HVAC repair and maintenance. The air conditioning guys came last week. They looked at it, did a couple of basic bits of maintenance, but there's some repairs that they need to make. They needed parts for. Those are on order, and they will hopefully be in this week, and we'll get that up and running. And then lastly, just need to get our grid wall mounted. This has been an interesting challenge. We want to put the grid wall where our comic displays are on this big, long, 40-foot brick wall behind me, but it's proving to be a difficult challenge. We've got 4-foot by 4-foot grid wall squares that will hold the comic shelves. Each square takes 6 mounting brackets. Each mounting bracket takes 4 screws. And what that boils down to is I have to put 240 screws into the brick wall. I don't know if you've ever tried to screw into brick before. It's hard. I watched a bunch of videos. I know what I'm supposed to be doing. I have the right tools. It's still just hard. So rather than do 240 holes in the brick, we decided we're going to mount a wood frame to the wall, which won't be big. It'll just need, 40 screws. It's a bunch of 2x4s that we'll just mount to the wall, and each 2x4 will have 4 or 5 anchors in it to keep it on the wall. But even that is very difficult. So I have made some calls to some masonry companies to get quotes for having that done, and apparently what we need is either a very simple job or an annoyingly frustrating job, because none of the masonry companies have called me back with a quote. They take my information, somebody will call you back, today or tomorrow, and it's been 3-4 days and nobody's called me back. So I got some more brick people to call. And I think that covers everything for this update. Thank you for listening. Hopefully we will be open within a couple of weeks, and you will be able to come in and see the glorious Carpe Diem comics for yourself, and hang out and talk with us and pick up your comics or your games and meet other people who like the same things you do and just talk. Looking forward to it. See you then. Bye.